Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Meredith Beavin, a pharmacist with a fascination for true crime, and I'm here with my wife and co host, Andy. Today, we're diving into the world of medications, the ones that can heal or turn deadly. So sit back, relax, listen, and learn. This is The Medicine Murders. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of The Medicine Murders. I'm Dr. Meredith Beavin, a pharmacist, and I am here with my co-host / wife, Andy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy.
And us, like a lot of you, are fascinated with true crime, but I'm also passionate about education. So I decided to create this podcast and blend the two because honestly, I have run out of true crime podcasts to listen to. So, hope you guys enjoy. This is the first episode of The Medicine Murders. You ready for today's story?
Yeah, super excited.
Cool. So, today we're starting our journey with a haunting case that has left a trail of grief and betrayal. So, the story of Betty Bowman, a young pharmacist whose tragic death exposed secrets that would change her loved ones' lives forever. Betty was a 32-year-old pharmacist. She was a kind and compassionate person with a dedication to her work that few could match. After leaving her hometown in Kansas, Betty quickly established herself as at the prestigious Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where she quickly became known for her kindness, warmth, and genuine care for her patients. She was well liked and highly respected by her colleagues and had made a real impact within the clinic. This was no small feat because the Mayo Clinic is renowned for its high standards and excellence in patient care, and Betty was considered an invaluable part of the team. Betty's personality was calm and empathetic, and she had a presence that made people feel comfortable. She was close with her family and valued her friendships deeply, and had high hopes for her future. But Betty's dreams weren't solely career focused. She wanted a fulfilling life that included a strong marriage, stability, and eventually a family of her own. And she thought she had found this with her husband, Connor Bowman. So Connor was also in the medical field. He was a resident at the Mayo Clinic, though his path wasn't quite the same as Betty's. Before he became a resident, Connor had worked in poison control, a background that gave him specific and unique insights into the effects and dangers of various drugs and toxins. So Betty and Connor seemed well matched on the surface. Both were young professionals, dedicated to medicine, and seemingly on parallel paths. But friends later said that the cracks in their relationship were apparent even to an outsider. Mm-hmm. Despite their outwardly promising lives, Betty and Connor's marriage wasn't as stable as it appeared. Friends and family close to the couple would later describe a relationship plagued by tension, particularly around financial issues. While Betty was flourishing in her role, Connor reportedly struggled. The weight of financial burdens, including Connor's debt, increasingly fell on Betty's shoulders, which created resentment and strained their relationship. Betty, who had worked hard to build a stable life, was now financially supporting her husband, a situation that led to increasing frustration. Reports indicate that Betty was quietly contemplating divorce. Although she hadn't openly discussed this with many people, there were close friends who knew about her discontent. The relationship had shifted from one of shared ambitions to a situation where Betty seemed to be holding things together on her own. However, it's unclear how much Connor knew about Betty's thoughts of ending the marriage, though he might have sensed the growing distance between them. So, the pressures of their relationship set the stage for the tragic events that followed. In mid-August, Betty's life took a horrific turn, one that no one close to her could have anticipated. On August 15th, 2023, Betty and Connor shared what seemed like a quiet evening at home. They had some drinks, and at some point shared a smoothie. It seemed like an ordinary night. But by the next morning, Betty's world had changed completely. She woke up with sudden, intense abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting. At first, she likely thought it was a bad stomach bug or maybe some food poisoning. But the symptoms intensified rapidly. She became dehydrated, couldn't keep anything down, and her pain was unrelenting. So Connor took her to the Mayo Clinic on August 16th, where she was admitted in critical condition. Her colleagues, who were now her caregivers, watched as Betty's condition continued to deteriorate at an alarming rate. Over the next few days, Betty's health took a devastating turn. Her organs began to fail one by one. Her heart rhythm was erratic. her lungs filled with fluid, and her blood pressure plummeted. Doctors had to make an emergency decision to remove part of her colon, which had started to necrotize or die due to lack of blood flow. Even with the surgery and all the medical interventions, Betty's body continued to shut down. She was surrounded by the best medical professionals, yet nothing seemed to work. After 4 agonizing days, on August 20th, Betty passed away, leaving her family, friends, and colleagues in complete shock. At first, everyone was devastated, but no one suspected foul play. Betty was only 32 and had been healthy and active, making her sudden decline and death a horrifying mystery. But her family couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. To them, it felt too sudden, too unexplainable. Their concerns pushed authorities to conduct a full autopsy. And when the toxicology report came back, it uncovered a chilling truth. Betty's toxicology report revealed a high concentration of colchicine, a powerful medication used to treat gout. Colchicine is effective in therapeutic doses, but it's deadly when taken in large amounts. Betty had no medical history that required colchicine, and she wasn't prescribed it. This toxic finding shifted her death from a tragic medical mystery to a potential homicide. With colchicine identified as the cause of death, investigators turned their attention to one person who had access to Betty and her medications: her husband, Connor Bowman. So, in researching this, I found the criminal complaint that was filed by the judge. Okay, so this is going to be direct from the criminal complaint.
Okay, cool.
All right, so according to the criminal complaint filed against Connor, he displayed highly suspicious behavior from the start. Shortly after Betty's hospitalization, he began telling doctors and others around him that Betty might have been suffering from hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis, or...
Dang.
I think I nailed it.
Yeah, you did.
Or HLH, a rare autoimmune disorder. So I'll just say HLH from now on.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great.
So he insisted that HLH could explain her sudden decline. Even though there was no evidence to support this diagnosis, Connor's behavior didn't stop there. He made repeated attempts to avoid a full autopsy and pushed for Betty's body to be cremated as quickly as possible.
That's a red flag for sure.
When the medical examiner expressed a need for an autopsy, Connor questioned the necessity of such an invasive process and even asked what would be tested in the toxicology report. His apparent eagerness to avoid further investigation struck investigators as incredibly suspicious. Digging deeper, authorities examined Connor's digital footprint, and what they found painted a disturbing picture. Connor had recently searched for, and I quote, lethal doses of colchicine, and performed calculations on how much would be fatal for someone of Betty's weight.
He's dumb, but go on.
In the world of technology...
Everything's traceable, people. Everything.
Just don't go to the library.
Go to the public library.
Look up.
Actually, we're not
We're
not giving advice on how to do that.
Actually, killers, please
But
keep using
I am
Google.
saying that, like, if you're gonna do something so ballsy as try to murder someone, be smart. Like, people are so dumb. People
Killers
tell
are
on
dumb.
themselves all the time.
Killers are dumb, which is good. I want them to be caught.
That's true, but oh my god.
So back to his. So his browsing history also included searches for internet history in court, police tracking package delivery, and ways to delete Amazon data. These searches pointed to a deliberate and methodical attempt to research and plan his actions, and crucially to cover his tracks. Further analysis revealed that Connor accessed Betty's medical records repeatedly during her hospitalization, even after her death. He added himself to her care team, allowing him to review and edit her records without needing outside access.
Holy crap.
It's a big HIPAA violation there. This manipulation of her records raised red flags. It seemed like an attempt to control the narrative of her symptoms and diagnosis. The investigation took another unexpected turn when detectives discovered that Connor had been using the dating app Bumble around the time of Betty's illness and death.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Bumble?
Wait to hear this.
Okay.
According to a report by CBS News, police issued a search warrant for his Bumble account, suspecting that Connor may have been pursuing other relationships during Betty's hospitalization. It was also reported that his account stated that he was already widowed before Betty died.
Terrible.
This revelation added another layer of betrayal to an already disturbing case. And on top of this, investigators uncovered a possible financial motive. Connor had reportedly told people he expected to receive $500,000 in life insurance following Betty's death. In light of the strained relationship and financial struggles, and Connor's apparent readiness to move on, this discovery painted a clear picture of motive. So with mounting evidence, Connor Bowman was arrested on October 20th, 2023, initially charged with second-degree murder. However, the seriousness of the evidence led a grand jury to indict him on first-degree premeditated murder.
As they should.
Yeah, that's correct. So if convicted, he could face life in prison without the possibility of parole. Connor now awaits trial, and the case has attracted widespread attention. So, what do you think about that case?
I mean, it looks clear-cut to me. Like, he obviously did it. I just, like, don't understand why he would insert himself so much. But this is the thing, I feel like, with people who, like, who can potentially, like, kill someone. I feel like they're just too...
They're cocky.
Yeah, they're narcissistic. Like, they think that they're smarter than everyone else, and they're not. You're just as dumb as me.
It's the same old
like,
story. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think in a million years I could ever pull that off. Not that I'd ever want to, but I just think it's insane to even think you could do that and get away with it, especially today with all the extra
technology,
shit we have, DNA, whatever. I'm like, yeah, maybe in, like, the
Google
40s. But,
Google
like,
history.
Yeah. I am interested to see, like, what happens as far as, like, what does colchicine actually, like, do to you?
Yeah, I will cover that. So right now, Connor's on trial. He hasn't had his trial yet. So he's awaiting trial in prison.
Okay.
So we can't say he's guilty or not guilty. This is just what their criminal complaint that the state of Massachusetts.
It's all alleged, people.
It's all alleged.
Now, my thing is, this reminds me of that other case.
Yeah,
with the girl who murdered her.
We just
boyfriend's
watched it,
mom.
Little Miss Innocent.
Yeah.
She also thought she was smarter than everyone.
Yeah, but was that before? I wonder if that's where he got the idea.
Yeah, so that happened in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it happened a long time ago.
So I wonder if he just,
that was the death of Mary Yoder.
Yeah, I just thought maybe...
Caitlin Connolly's she's in jail for 23 years. Little Miss Innocent was good. It's on Hulu. We watched it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was good. Good watch.
Yeah, it was a good watch. I mean, she looks not to like overarching say something about this, but like she looks psychotic.
No,
she looks crazy. Yeah.
No emotion, all faked.
Laughing at weird times, like crying, and like it's just like
that's the part of
like
true
the
crime.
fake crying. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, that's the part of true crime that's so fascinating. Like these people that commit murder and then act normal. It's
well, the thing is, I don't know. Like I don't think everybody has this ability, but I feel like it's in my head, like the way that I see it. I mean, she looks guilty. The way she's acting, the way she's talking, and I know.
Yeah, I mean, she ratted herself out. She wrote a letter.
Yeah, and I'm just saying the way people say like, "Oh, there's no one way to grieve," and like I can understand that, but at the same time, I feel like we also have as humans like a good gut instinct of when people are not quite right. So
yeah, I mean, I think that Little Miss Innocent definitely did a good job of proving she is not innocent.
No.
But we'll see. All her appeals have been denied, I'm pretty sure, but
and hopefully they keep getting denied.
Yeah.
Because...
Connor, on the other hand, is awaiting trial, so we don't know all the facts. We'll find it out, I guess, as soon as a trial date's set. And then I will update you as that goes on.
Okay.
So this is gonna be my favorite part, the learning part. Are you ready to learn about colchicine?
Yeah, I love this part. I love when you talk nerdy to me.
This is that part, talk nerdy part.
Yeah.
So as a pharmacist, I love teaching people about medicine. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd who likes true crime.
Yep.
Okay. So we've covered the case. So we're going to dive into gout. This is the medical condition that is related to colchicine, and the medications used to treat it, including my favorite dosages, how to take it, and their side effects. You're about to get a lesson in pharmacology.
Heck yeah.
So, do you know what gout is? before we continue.
Isn't it something that has to do with like swelling?
Inflammation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you nailed
only
it.
kind of vaguely know that.
If I were to say, what is gout and where people usually feel it, do you know?
I've heard it's typically like the legs and feet, right?
Close. It's the big toe,
What?
specifically. Yep.
Okay.
So
Got it.
So gout.
I'm not laughing at gout, but like
The big
I
toe
would
is
not
the
have
fun.
guessed that. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the most common place where a flare occurs.
Okay.
So a gout is a type of arthritis known for causing sudden intense pain, redness and swelling in the joints. So often at the big toe, but it also affects ankles, knees, wrists, elbows, fingers, where your joints are.
Okay.
But it has this very specific characteristic of forming crystals in the big toe.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So it's caused by an excess of uric acid. Uric acid is just a byproduct of our human waste. So us living, we make waste, our body gets rid of it, and uric acid's part of that waste. Some people make more than we can get rid of, and so this is kind of the byproduct of that.
Okay.
So it's caused by excess of uric acid in the blood. When uric acid builds up, it crystallizes in the joints, leading to inflammation and severe pain.
Okay.
So during an acute gout attack, medications are used to reduce pain and inflammation quickly. So this medicine I'm going to cover is just going to be for, I'm currently having an attack, and I'm going to take this. Like, I have a headache, I'm taking medicine. Same thing.
Okay, so it's not like a preventative. This is how, when you take it in the moment for symptom relief.
I'm in pain. I'm getting rid of this pain.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll start with colchicine. So the dosage, this colchicine comes in 0.6 milligram tablets. They're little purple tablets. The brand name's Colchris. So it's typically 1.2 milligrams on the onset of symptoms, followed by 0.6 milligrams about an hour later if you need it. So if you still have symptoms.
Gotcha.
Usually take it with food to help reduce stomach upset. And some common side effects are going to be nausea, diarrhea, and abdominal pain, which
she was experiencing.
Correct. Yeah. The dose that she would have, I'll go over the toxic dosing of colchicine, but the amount that she would have to take isn't too far from our therapeutic dose. So it's very,
there's
like a fine line. It can get dangerous quick.
Yeah.
So our next one is NSAIDs. Those are your non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So your ibuprofen, your Advil, your naproxen, or Aleve. And you take NSAIDs with food to prevent upset stomach as well. Same side effects, gastrointestinal upset, risk of ulcers, some kidney damage, or long-term use. But this will just be used for flares. So
I didn't know that you had to take NSAIDs with food or something like that.
Yeah, it can. The way it works, it can upset your stomach. Yep. Oh. Now, your normal 200 milligram dose. These are like a little bit higher doses. So we're talking 400 to 800 milligrams. Ibuprofen is usually 200 milligrams over the counter.
Okay, yeah.
Naproxen, we're talking 500 milligrams over the counter. Aleve is 220 milligrams. So these are a little bit higher. I would take it with food, crackers, smoothie, milk, something. Yeah. Especially if you're sensitive to it. And then next would be corticosteroids. We'll just use prednisone. So prednisone is often prescribed in doses of 30 to 40 milligrams once a day, or divided doses, and typically 5 to 10 days. You'll taper on and off of those. As a pharmacist, I would say I've seen every taper known to man. Use 60, 50, 40, 30 over 60. There isn't like a set taper, but I feel like a doctor chooses their favorite taper and they kind of go with it. But as long as the taper's not insane and for a super long amount of time, it doesn't usually raise red flags.
Okay.
But side effects are usually increased appetite, insomnia, mood changes, and with long-term use, weakened bones and weight gain. But we're talking about 5 to 10 days here, so hopefully those long-term side effects won't affect during these flares.
Right.
So for chronic gout, this is prevention. This is people who have flares pretty commonly, or they just have high uric acid levels in their blood.
Okay.
So there's a couple medications we use. Allopurinol is one. That dosage starts at about 100 milligrams once a day, and you can increase it gradually to 300 milligrams or more depending on levels. Some common side effects: nausea, diarrhea. You have some like rare but serious allergic reactions. Usually it's maybe like a skin rash. You have febuxostat, which is usually 40 milligrams once a day, up to 80 milligrams if needed. Your side effects there are some liver abnormalities, so you'll get blood work while on it, joint pain, and risk of some cardiovascular events. I will say in practice I don't see febuxostat too often, but I do see it. Allopurinol is probably the more common one. So your next common one would be probenecid. Its dosage is 250 milligrams twice a day, increasing to 500 twice a day if tolerated. And those side effects are the same: nausea, dizziness. You have a little risk of kidney stones, but kidney stones are also a risk of just having gout in general,
right.
or high uric acid levels. So gout management often includes lifestyle changes, which is a big one. So doing simple things like reducing red meat, seafood, and alcohol intake, staying hydrated, along with prevention medicine or alone. These changes can help control uric acid levels and prevent painful flare-ups. So why is colchicine so dangerous? So colchicine has something called a very narrow therapeutic range, meaning the difference between a therapeutic and toxic dose is very small.
Right.
So in high doses, it interferes with cell division, especially in fast-dividing cells. And toxicity symptoms start with severe abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, all the things that Betty experienced, progressing to multi-organ failure.
Right.
So you're going to have a quiz right now.
Oh.
So what was the dose of colchicine? I'm having a flare. I'm taking colchicine. What's my dose?
0.6 to 1.2.
Yeah, so
Okay.
kinda. So if I'm having a flare, we're gonna take 1.2 milligrams, which is 2 tablets. It comes in 0.6 milligrams. And then if it's not, the flare's still there, I'll take one more tablet. Okay, and that'll be my daily
Gotcha.
amount, right? So you're talking about 1.8 milligrams throughout the day. And
Right.
that's my treatment for a flare.
Right.
So let's talk about the lethal dose. A lethal dose can vary, but it's usually 7 to 10 milligrams.
Oh, okay.
So 1.8's your normal therapeutic dose.
Yeah.
And you're just talking about a couple more tablets,
Yeah.
and that's a lethal dose.
Yeah, that's not hard.
And I mean, even accidental is luckily they don't usually hand out too many of these tablets. You're getting 9, 6, like you're getting a couple at a time.
You're getting a limited amount.
Unless there are some people who use them every day for prevention, but it's rare. So with toxicity possible at even doses of over 2 to 3 milligrams a day.
Wow.
So it's super close. So it's already a drug that can be dangerous just in normal hands, let alone someone who wants to do harm.
Right.
So the story of Betty Bowman's tragic death is a reminder of the trust we place in those we love and how that trust can be shattered in unimaginable ways. Connor Bowman awaits trial with new evidence continuing to surface. For Betty's family, the search for justice continues. Any other questions before we go?
No, that was really interesting.
Did you learn something about gout?
I did, actually. Yeah. I didn't know that it primarily happened in the big toe. I think that's interesting.
You should Google it. If you Google it, you have a big picture of someone going "ow" on their big toe.
I'm good. I can't Google stuff like that. You know that.
True. Yeah. Never mind. But that was our first episode. How did it feel?
That felt good. That was exciting.
Okay.
That was fun.
I think as we go along, we'll become a little bit better at storytelling.
And just remember, guys, all our main sources are going to be in the show notes. That way, if you want to look into it yourself, feel free. And remember, don't kill anyone, please. We don't recommend that.
You ready for my sign off?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. And just remember, you don't need a prescription for murder.
Dun dun dun.